Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about how Trump is actually right on the debt ceiling. Trump's move in which he called for the debt ceiling to be raised as part of the continuing resolution funding package wasn't just surprising. It was downright shocking to most, especially to those who believed his rhetoric about lowering the debt and cutting spending. The only thing more shocking was what he said during a phone interview with NBC. Trump was talking about the possibility of doing away with the debt ceiling completely. He said if Congress did that, it would be the smartest thing it could do, and said, "I would support that entirely." He went on to say that, quote, "It doesn't mean anything except psychologically." So, why is this so shocking? Because he's right. I mean, it's not psychological. There are real effects, but they're self-imposed. The debt ceiling is an invention of Congress. People like to compare it to a credit card limit. It's not. The credit limit is set by the bank. This is more like having a credit card with a $10,000 limit and telling yourself you can only spend $1,000 of it. Not because you can't afford to spend more, but because you want to be able to argue with your spouse about it if they go over it. Generally, Republicans want to use the debt ceiling to make it seem like Democrats spend too much and to extract concessions when the Democratic Party has the majority. It's a completely unnecessary financial fiction. To truly show how out of step with Republicans Trump's statement is, here's a quote. "I agree with President-elect Trump that Congress should terminate the debt limit." That's Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren. When Republicans talk about the debt, they like to use giant dollar amounts rather than the number that makes sense. The number that makes sense is the debt as a percentage of the GDP. Why does that make more sense? Having $100,000 in debt means a lot more if you make $50,000 per year than if you make $1 million, right? That's why it needs to be a ratio of what the country makes, the GDP. If you're wondering about that ratio, it ran at about 100% for about a decade. Then it shot up to a record 132% under Trump. Right now, it's been brought back down to around 120%. Going back to Reagan, you can see clearly when the trajectory of the debt changes. You'll see it start to climb under Reagan in 1981, and it keeps that trajectory more or less until it angles up again in 1990 under Bush Sr. It starts to go down under Clinton. Then it angles back up early in Bush Jr.'s term in 2001. Then it shoots up again under him in 2008. It levels off under Obama. Then it shoots up dramatically under Trump. Then it declines under Biden. That sounds incredibly partisan. The angle changes up under Republicans and level off or goes down under Democrats. For the visual learners, there will be a chart linked below. It will show you the debt as a percentage of the GDP going back decades. You can see it pretty clearly. Math has a well-known liberal bias. If you look at the specific chart I link from the Federal Reserve, it tells you something else. The chart has periods of recession shaded in gray. That's when the changes in the trajectory occur. So, it's not really that Republicans drive the debt to GDP ratio up, just because. They do it because the measures needed to deal with a recession get expensive. Now, if you want me to explain why Republicans always seem to preside over recessions for the last 40 years, well, economics also has a well-known liberal bias. It's kind of weird, right? Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.